At the time of this recording, the following content is considered proprietary and non-public, and should not be shared outside the intended viewing audience. Deckard is installed via a CloudFormation template and some supporting files. These are expected to be put into a prefix release folder in a bucket. The three files are Deckard CloudFormation, which is the actual template, Deckard Open API, which is the definition for the API gateway, and Deckard Runtime Code, which is the Lambda runtime. It is suggested and encouraged to have a specific account per your install, specifically for Deckard itself. This is not meant to be a CloudFormation tutorial, but we will walk through the steps. Selecting the URL for the CloudFormation template can be entered here and clicking on Next. You can give your stack a name. You have to make sure these are all lowercase, as these are used to name buckets during the install. The only parameter provided and needed is the name of the bucket where the installation codes are provided. To run a CloudFormation script, you have to have an appropriate IAM role available in your account. You can look at the CloudFormation documentation for specifics on that. Here for this example, I'm using an IAM role in my account. The CloudFormation template for Deckard will be creating an IAM role, so you do need to acknowledge that before the install. After everything is set up, you can click on Submit and your CloudFormation template will start running. The install is actually pretty quick. It usually happens within under a minute. You will see that the stack will be create complete when all the assets of the installation are provisioned. Quick look at the resources provisioned. There are a number of API gateway provision resources. These provide an endpoint to the runtime and also the HIDL engine. There was a DynamoDB table created for the genealogy lookup and index that Darwin uses. There's an event bus created for the broadcast feature. There's the role created that Deckard runtime uses. There is the Lambda function, which in this case is what they call a Lambda lith. It is a one all-encompassing Lambda function for the runtime. And then there's a permission that is granted for the API gateway to call the Lambda. Around the mounted resources, there are two logs created. One is the Deckard log, which is hooked into Nixon for the auditing. And then there is the runtime log, which manages the metrics on the Lambda. There are 4 buckets created. There is the audit bucket, the HIDL bucket, the runtime bucket, and the state bucket. We'll get into those when we look at the runtime flow. There is a SNS topic bucket, which is for notifying purposes, and then there is the parameter store that holds configuration information that the platform uses itself. There are 2 outputs created. These are used by the indexer CloudFormation install, and we'll touch upon those later. You can choose to delete your stack just like any CloudFormation stack. One thing to keep in mind that since the Deckard runtime uses serverless based provisions assets, there really isn't a cost for just having the installation and sitting out there.